Hi and welcome to The Winning Factor. I'm Alan Aitken, and on this show each week I take a look at some upcoming races in Hong Kong and try to isolate an angle to the race we might look back on later as having been a path to finding the winner. Well, big racing on New Year's Day, including a Group 3, and that's one of the races that we're going to take a look at. But the first one is race 6, where our winning factor is the map. Now, this Class 4 has a number of chances. The consistent Oscar Glory, who had some excuses last time. Good News is racing very well. Red Titan returns after having no luck 8 days ago. And down in the weights, Over the Moon and Dragon Pride will get back in the race, but do have some sort of claims. So the first thing I want to show you is the last start of several of these runners, and there's a little bit to look at. And those three runners are Oscar Glory, Turquoise Alpha and Over the Moon. And this is race 256 of the current season. And Over the Moon here is in gate 13, blue and yellow colours. Turquoise Alpha in turquoise from gate 12. And from gate 8 in red, white and blue, Oscar Glory, who we normally see leading his races. But apprentice Angus Chung lets a couple of faster ones go here and takes the box seat, which has consequences later. Now, Over the Moon goes to the rear and the rail, while Turquoise Alpha, well, he pretty much stays in his wide lane for the whole race. Now, the pace is genuine here, and both of the long price leaders, they stop pretty quickly at the top of the straight. And you'll see here we get a domino effect of traffic banking up behind them along the rail. There are several horses who get badly held up. Over the Moon gets some of it before running on into fourth, but Oscar Glory, well, he's locked up for good, so he is a complete forgive for this performance. So as I say, excuses for all three horses I mentioned from that race, and excuses too for Red Titan, one of our selections last week on Christmas Eve. And we thought that maybe Zach Purton would be able to work some of his magic, but all we ended up with was somebody sawed in half as this went all wrong. So we'll take a look at that race also. This is race 274. He's in dark blue colours from a wide gate. Red Titan is positive early as expected, but so are a few others underneath him, and Zach Purton gets stuck wide here, then adds to the speed in the middle section as he pushes forward to race outside what is already a very genuine lead pace. And really that's all she wrote. He's simply done too much in the first half, and we turn for home and he gets run over by horses which have had more energy saving runs behind him. But the reason we're revisiting Red Titan this time is not only because he had an excuse, but he has a more inviting scenario on Sunday. We'll take a look at the map, and although he still has gate 10 here, Red Titan steps up to 1,600 metres now, an extra 200 metres, in a race where the first thing that strikes you is how little speed there is. I think we'll see Oscar Glory return to leading here at a soft pace, and Purton wanting to come across and follow him and not be getting too involved in setting the speed this time. Good News, well, he maps well, but some of the others with chances run on horses, and they're going to have some issues without much pace in the race. So I think the better run looks good for Red Titan, unless, of course, that last start has flattened him. He's coming back to the races quite quickly. So I thought I'd take a little step down a laneway and have a look at the stats regarding quick backups for horses and who are the most successful trainers. And there's actually not many trainers, only a handful in Hong Kong, who are ahead of market expectations with these horses. And as you'll see here, Red Titan's trainer John Size is one of the better performers with these backup runners, one of only a handful, as I said, in positive territory, performing ahead of market expectations. So the tip in race 6 is Red Titan. His winning factor, the map. I think this will be a much kinder run for Red Titan in the race, and his trainer John Size does know a thing or two about bringing horses back to the races quickly. The other race I'm taking a look at is our feature, the Chinese Club Challenge Cup, a Group 3 over 1,400 metres, and that's race 8, and our winning factor here is the tempo. Now, only a small field here, and I'm sure the main focus will be on Lucky Swainess, Zach Purton's mount, who didn't have much luck at all as favourite in the Hong Kong Sprint. but I think there'll be arguments made for a couple of others, including Beauty Joy and the lightweights Fantastic Treasure and the Golden Scenery. Now, the first two I named there have been going around in Group 1 races, while Fantastic Treasure and the Golden Scenery have been going around in Class 2. But these Group 3 handicaps in Hong Kong racing are always interesting contests where the relatively talented meet the extremely talented, and the relatively talented actually come out pretty well. If you take a look at this graphic, there is a little bit of explanation required. I'm comparing the performances versus market expectations for horses carrying each possible handicap weight in these Group 3s over the last 10 years. Now, down the middle you'll see the possible weights in pounds that horses have had to carry, and the horizontal lines on the left show performances short of the expected wins for that group, and on the right hand side the wins exceeding market expectations. So after all that, the point to be made is that you see on the right hand side down the bottom a cluster of lines in positive territory for the lighter weighted horses who regularly outperform the market in these races. Now, this particular race did have a history at one point of being a graveyard for horses coming out of the Group 1s on International Day, flat from peak performances there and getting buried in what was perceived as an easier race. In recent years we haven't seen it quite as often that these horses even participate in this race, but Lucky Sweynesse certainly won in that case, and let's take a look at his run in the Hong Kong Sprint. He's in Gate 3, yellow colours, and Zach Purton has often remarked that Lucky Sweynesse needs some riding out of the gates to get him going. And there he is pushing up into the first 5 or 6, but this is quite an unusual Group 1 sprint, as the heat map shows not much pace at all early, and we see Lucky Sweynesse getting his head up and definitely wanting to go faster. Now, the real problem started in the stretch, however, where the lack of pace early meant that the field didn't open up and Lucky Sweynesse never really had a clear crack at the race. On the minus side, very difficult to win a race when you're stuck in traffic. On the positive side, not the kind of run where you'd expect that Lucky Sweynesse would be flat from the effort. And I do think that he has some opposition here from the lightly weighted Fantastic Treasure. Now, we're going to have a look at his most recent run, and this is just last weekend on December 24, race 280. He's in red, light blue and yellow, gate 6, and Lyle Hewitson has him quickly out of the gates in a race which certainly didn't play out as I had expected. The Rock was inexplicably restrained, leaving the only leader in the race, Orpheus St Paul's, to slow the pace right down, and Fantastic Treasure travels beautifully in that slow speed. Now, 1600 metres, probably the outside of his distance range, so the slow pace brought him into contention, and Fantastic Treasure tries very hard under a big weight, but is just pipped by the talented and very lightly weighted winner, Packing Treadmill. So there are the two most recent runs of these horses, but there is another video that I'd like to show you from 6 months ago, and this is Lucky Sweynesse's only previous attempt at 1400 metres. This is last season, race 730, and with Matthew Poon aboard and gate 5 you see Lucky Sweynesse not the best away, and Poon sools him through in the slow speed to get up just behind the pace, but just watch how he fights the rider throughout the race. When push comes to shove, he still proves just too good, but at the same time he had a lightweight to carry there in class 2, and who's that running third? The Golden Scenery, who was giving £13 to Lucky Sweynesse in this race and now gets £19 off him. But seeing how he fought the rider there, Lucky Sweynesse, it isn't only the weights here that are a concern, it's the tempo. When we take a look at the map, you can only see a soft tempo here. Healthy Happy, last year's winner, is the likely leader with Lucky Sweynesse. There's no reason to think that the pace will be anything but a trot, which could take Lucky Sweynesse and the very awkward going Beauty Joy out of their comfort zones and isn't ideal for the Golden Scenery, who lacks early pace. But it is going to suit Fantastic Treasure, sitting just behind them and ready to sprint with his light weight. Will Purton seek to change the game by taking the lead on Lucky Sweynesse, letting him run along a bit? It's possible, but no guarantee he still won't want to fight him, and there's still that big handicap. So the tip in race 8, Fantastic Treasure. His winning factor, the tempo. Now, I'm certainly not knocking Lucky Swayness, who I'm sure will be a favourite here, but he needs to be on his best behaviour. We've seen how he can over-race in a slow pace. He does have the big weight to carry, and I think those things give Fantastic Treasure an excellent chance of tipping the favourite over. Well, that's it from the winning factor for this week and for 2022. Good luck on Sunday. We'll see you next year.